Now, in terms of vol, realized vol obviously spiking by about 15 points on BTC and 30 points on Ethereum. So realized touching near 70 on Ethereum and, mid 50s on Bitcoin. And that was really just due to how thin the liquidity was over that holiday period to be able to absorb that amount of supply. Implied vols obviously have traded higher in line, exploding by about 20 points in the front, weekly expiries, and then 10 vol points roughly in the 1 month. Volatility carry, you can see, has gone fairly neutral, if not a bit negative in Bitcoin, and even a little bit negative in Ethereum. So implied and realized vols are pretty much in line with each other as markets kind of remain a bit nervous. And obviously there's going to be some people licking their wounds after that type of move. So there might not be as much appetite to smash the vol. We have got inflation data this week that has got the potential to move macro markets in terms of FX and rates. So maybe the vol sellers are waiting to see the inflation data come off and then they're going to smash it. We'll see. ETF launch continues to be pushed back. It looks like next week is the one now. They keep rolling it a week. We know it's coming. We don't know how big the inflow will be, but we know it's coming and the market is anticipating it and just kicking the can at the moment. In terms of term structure, you can see we did see an inversion in both curves. Bitcoin short dated up about 15 points, back end only up about 2 or 3. Almost identical moves in the Ethereum term structure here. Front end moving 20 odd points, long end 2 to 3. The Ethereum event risk would normally give you some sort of kink like next week if that is the date. But obviously because the front has popped so much because Gamma's just been such good value, there is no kink now. So there may be a trade there to say, well, if we are going to get inflows that rally Ethereum, then owning next week calls versus being short this week calls is a trade, because we don't think the real move higher, like back to 33, happens until we see the evidence of the inflow. So maybe some sort of call calendar looks quite smart in Ethereum, given the setup and given that there's literally no event premium being priced for next week. BTC, ETH BTC vol spread holding near about 15 vols in the front. It kind of moves down to around just sub 10 in the back. Obviously realized vol exploding on Ethereum and kind of justifying that spread. The vol premium was due to the anticipation of some large move on the ETF launch, which never happened. But instead, the asset moved down more violently on the downside as we got this kind of flush out of long positioning and this break of this really key support level. Now, the ETH BTC spot spread did have a sharp leg lower, obviously, into those key supports, though, and has held. And those are supports, the lows that were made last month. So it looks like it's holding these levels, and it may well be a really nice entry point to get into ETH versus BTC if they do come and deliver some inflows and we get some outperformance next week. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that sort of action. Like I say, there's various ways to play it. You know, it's difficult to like buying ETH calls and selling Bitcoin calls at 15 vol premium. So I think if you think there's inflows coming next week, you probably don't want to do it via that spread, because at 15 vols, it does look like once we get the launch, that thing is resetting hard. I don't know how far, but it might go back to 5 vol spread or something. So it could be maybe 10 vols a downside in that spread potentially. So it's not as attractive to just buy the calls versus the Bitcoin calls, I don't think, right now. Okay, what else? Skew. So you see the skew in Bitcoin, that's the green one, flipped into puts. That's the 1 month, but the 1 week went even more ballistic than that. Obviously, people rushing for short date protection, myself included. Now, that skew is trading higher than Ethereum put skew. In fact, Ethereum still got a very slight call skew in the 1 month, whereas Bitcoin's in put premium. Obviously, thinking that there's some support from inflows to turn up next week if they do turn up. More of the same in the back end skew, though. All of it's priced for calls. Ethereum steeper than Bitcoin right now for calls and has been for a while. But we've seen that long-term skew be persistently for calls all year, which basically is kind of telling the story around the macro setup and the structural bull market is still intact by the looks of things. And these short-term pukes haven't done enough damage to that to flip that skew into puts yet. Not to say it won't happen, but we probably need to break 50K on Bitcoin for long-term skew to actually get priced in for puts, basically. So for now, it looks like people still like the longer-term story. And then this steep term structure is becoming quite normal, where it goes super steep because we flip into negative, or whether it's negative or positive, depends on how you look at the skew. But we flip into put premium and then we go into call premium at the back. So it's a very steep skew curve right now. And that's becoming quite normal whenever spot drops like that, because that front end skew really follows the spot down and the back end just kind of holds a premium, right? And then when we flip back the other way and we rally, the front end skew flips back towards calls and the long end skew is already in calls. So it doesn't really need to move. So you keep getting this steepening and flattening of the skew curve as well. So it's not just the term structure that's doing this kind of dance. It's also the skew term structure that's doing this dance as well.
Hi everyone. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. Remember, this is just a little taster of what we do at Options Insight. To get access to all our research, including my in-depth vol market insights, flows and positioning report, and my portfolio trades, and a whole lot more, you can sign up for a free 1-month trial at options-insight.com. I'll see you soon.